My name's Terry Lynch. I'm with Oregon Ufology. I found myself searching for a passageway one day. And that passageway leads right across the complete section of the Cascades, which I'm sitting in front of at the moment. On top of the line of peak. I want to make sure that everybody sees the type of things that we find in the process of research for ufology. I have located a couple that's sitting here on the top of the line of peak. She's facing south. He's facing north.
The Middle, Cascadia Guides, a Ledesma production, in conjunction with Alien Strand Films.
Alien Strand Podcast.
So the species who abducted me are called the tall whites, okay? Well, I mean, they're extremely tall, so I would say 8.5 feet tall, very skinny, very lanky, and extremely white, just like my shirt.
Leads people to think that travelling back in time cannot occur in our universe is the grandfather paradox. This is a well-known paradox of time travel, in which inconsistencies emerge through changing the past. The name comes from the paradox's description. A person travels to the past and kills their own grandfather before the conception of their father or mother, which prevents the time traveller's existence.
What's up, everyone? This is Arizona Gallegos, and you're listening to Alien Strand Podcast with Donald and Ledesma. Check out my Facebook page at Arizona Secret Backyard. Hit me a like, share, and follow. I'll see you there.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Alien Strand Podcast. I'm your host, Donald Ledesma, and welcome to today's show. Man, it's going to be a really good one today. I'm glad you guys are sticking around. You can find us on 26 to 28 audio platforms, man. You catch us on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google, Castbox. You can even ask Alexa, and Alexa will play some Alien Strand podcast for you. Don't forget to catch our past podcasts, because we do talk about aliens, spiritual things, paranormal, Bigfoot, everything of the unknown. That's what we do here at Alien Strand Podcast. I love to do the audio podcast, because it brings me back to my roots, right? To where podcasting first started for me like 5 years ago, going on 6 now. I can't believe time has flown by that fast already, and as much as I love to do this, I love to tell stories of UFOs and UFO encounters and things that have caught people's attention from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, all the way up to today. We still keep on giving the information out to you guys out there. Now, if you're new to ufology, well, welcome to ufology. Welcome to Alien Strand Podcast and Alien Strand Disclosure Project. Now, if you want to report a UFO, go to Alien Strand Disclosure Project or ASDP-UFO.com. Check us out there, or go to alienstrand.com. That's our sister page. You can always report a UFO go there as well. We have a database where we put everything together for you guys, and you can just report it, time, date, everything like that. We have all the information. We have our representatives from all over the world, right? We have them in Australia, England. We have them in Scotland. We have them all over the United States as well, because they love to represent Alien Strand Podcast and Alien Strand Disclosure Project, because we are citizen ufologists, and we, give the information without any kind of government entities involved, because we don't want none of that. No, we don't, because why? They try to, stop us from doing all kinds of, whatever. We're just here to give you all the information as much as possible. Now, I always say it in my podcast, I'm not here to make you believe. That's up to you to decide. We just kind of give you the information. Now, I hope you caught a lot of our past podcasts, with Miss June DeYoung, and we've had a lot of podcasts before that prior, with some authors that contact me, and get their books out there, especially when it's about ufology or Bigfoot or just paranormal things. My last author was Mike Fiorito from New York, right? And he had a book called For All We Know. Great guy, man. And he was so knowledgeable about, the consciousness, man, because he dug so deep into it in order to write this book, right, about consciousness, right? And lately, I don't know if you've noticed on Alien Strand Podcast, we've been kind of diving into that part of it, of consciousness, subconsciousness, things of your aura, almost the supernatural part, the being that's the entity of life living inside of you, right? And we kind of able to touch into these factors that sometimes we don't think about it every day, right? We just live life in an everyday fashion, right? We don't think about these things, right? And sometimes we have people to help us connect to that part of it, right? And like today's guest, June DeYoung, she's going to help us connect to that certain part that we don't think about, especially in our daily lives, right? And we're going to talk about past lives, future lives, and I hope you guys really enjoyed today's podcast. If you guys are listening out there, thank you. Please subscribe to our channels on YouTube. Subscribe here to Spreaker, Spotify, everywhere we're at. June's been helping us a lot here, getting the information out because she wants to reach out to more people. We're trying to reach out to more people, because she does help a lot of folks as well, like we do as well, with alien encounters, and sometimes those things are really traumatic, right? And so we really do push the element out there to try to help people as well in that sense, right? Because of the PTSD, things like that. And she does the same thing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get her on the show right now. All right, here we go. Hello, June, you there?
I'm here.
All
Hi,
right.
Everybody.
Thank you for being on the show today. For one, this is our
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. This is a great show, and we're going to talk about past life and future life regressions and things that you've touched base on that maybe a lot of people out there haven't, right? They haven't been able to. Yeah. To do that, because you've actually tapped into that realm. Now, can you go back and let's talk about you, and let's talk about how the past regression, the past lives came in factor to you.
Well, I was producing a show, my own show. I used to design clothes for MTV, right? And Billy, Idol, just like it keeps going. Tina Turner, people like that. Anyway. And all the Playboy bunnies, and I used to make all this clothes, and so I made a large sum of money and decided to take it and parlay it into producing a show on psychic phenomena,
right? Where
I'm the host. No one knew I was a psychic, and it's called Vibrations of the Known and the Unknown, which I ended up selling at NAPTI, Convention for Television People, television producers, and I ended up selling it where other people are really there selling their shows. I actually just went down and said, I can think opposite, think contrary thinking, like George Costanza and Seinfeld. Anyway, let's think opposite, and let's go down and sell a show, which I did. And I got representation in London and became really well known in Europe. Did a lot of shows out of Europe and still do.
Right.
And I'll be doing some next month, this month and next month. Anyway, I sold the show to Brazil and Germany and the UK and all that kind of stuff. So it was really great, and I got to interview all these wonderful people amazing people. And it was funny. I'd go to see one person, and then they'd say, "Can I turn you on to somebody else who'd love to do the show?"
Wow.
Sure. So they'd put them on the phone, and I would get my next guest. And it was constant. It was constant like that. I was led from this place to that place to this place. And I end up, and I had never been hypnotized in my entire life. And this was in the 80s,
Wow.
mid 80s. And, yeah, it was really nuts. I love backing my own projects. It's really great. And I'm able to do that through my lotto sessions now, you know, and my clients are too,
Right.
which is really great. And anyway, so what happens is I get this woman named Shella Mattingly, right? She's on 58th Street in New York. I don't know if she still does it. She's pretty up there in age right now, you know, but I mean, doesn't matter, you know, you still can be a hypnotist, right?
Right.
And she was in theater. She had done theater, so she has a very theatrical voice. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And so we recorded it. We recorded the whole thing, the induction, and which is really dangerous. When you record induction, that's why you don't see that a lot on TV. You'll see the person already hypnotized. You can hypnotize anybody. Like if I watched it, I could be hypnotized at home, and that's dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
You never want to do that. There are people that try to do that on the phone. Even with COVID, it's dangerous. You have to be in the room with the person
I always wondered
to
about that.
actually do this work.
I always wondered about that. Like, you know, it's like, I don't know if you're kind of into this, but you know how I've talked to people. I'm just I'm going to mix this up just a little bit for you. But I talk to people that they watch a lot of horror movies, right? Some really dark stuff sometimes, right? And then
Right.
some dark things start happening in their houses, right? They start, wait a minute. Like this one friend of mine, he says he was watching some dark movie, and there was a lot of stuff going on in the horror, you know, spiritual stuff. And then there was a black snake that came out in the film, right? And then the next morning he wakes up and he opens the back door and there's a black snake right there in his backyard, right? And he's and we don't have that in the city, you know. It's rare that you see it. And he was like, and he called me like right away. He didn't know who to talk to, right? Because you know he knows me. I'm like kind of alien, paranormal kind of person. And he says, "Hey, is this possible, bro?" He tells me, "Is this possible?" I said, "You know what? I've heard this that it is possible." So this, which brings me to you. Is this possible?
You know, and I have to tell you, Maya Angelou, by the way, on that before you come into me here, but Maya Angelou always said, always watch whatever you watch, you digest. Right.
Right.
You bring it to you.
Right.
And like, I don't watch horror movies. I don't watch The Exorcist. I don't watch any of those stuff.
Right.
You know, I've done exorcisms on people's homes in the Amityville Horror Street. Hello. But you know, I've done stuff like that. But I don't like doing it. I don't like having to do it. You know, I clear homes and I sell them. I sold 56 homes during COVID, and for my clients in 3 to 10 days when nobody could sell a home during COVID. And I did that without even entering a home. And I'm able to do that. And then I gave them products that clear that I use. I mean, I don't use sage and I don't use Palo Santo and I don't use any of that kind of stuff. I don't have crystals in my home, nothing like that.
Right.
But for a lot of reasons, a lot of stories about that. But so anyway, people gift me crystals and they gift me sage and I don't use it. I will not use it. Anyway, so I use this stuff and I clear homes. So, but you shouldn't even have to be in that kind of energy. But it is when you purchase a home or when you first move into a home, you really need to clear that energy.
Right.
If you watch a crazy movie like that or murder cases, like I used to watch a lot of the Columbos and the, you know, and I met him. I met him at Universal. I was watching the Columbo series, sort of funny. He walked right over to me, Peter Plotz. He's a Jersey guy. Walked from Deal, New Jersey. Walked right over to me. Hey, how's it going? I was like, oh my God. I said, I was just watching you on TV. Well, that's my thing. Whatever I watch on TV, I bump into the person. Right. Or they call me, you know, and they become my client. So it's that kind of thing. I could be playing their music and they call, you know. Right. And I've had that several times with my musician clients. And anyway, so you attract whatever that is, and you're gonna bring that to you. Well, you know, you're just gonna you bring that into you. My mother used to say, "Oh no, you can't watch it." Well, when I was a little kid, I watched all the sci-fi movies, and here I was with all the sci-fi greats later on in life. You know, when I was old enough to meet them, you know, on the West Coast, and bumped into them and interviewed them.
So as far as the the hypnotizing thing. I mean, is that like, is that possible to happen to people that way? I mean, can somebody actually do that? And if they did that, I mean, would there be like,
negative results? You mean negative ramifications?
Yeah, or backlash.
No. If you don't have the right hypnotist, and you know what? Let me tell you, I did world events under hypnosis, right?
Right.
I did 8 sessions, 5 hours apiece. Okay, and I did those in 1999 to 2000 with a hypnotist named Tim. Right. Well, Tim, after that, he got messed up. He started dating a comedian's wife, famous comedian's, ex-wife, and she was negative, and he got really messed up. So I was like, don't touch me. You know what I mean? You're not coming near me. I'm not doing this again. Right. And I really wanted to have even more. I mean, I predicted all this stuff we're looking at in politics and a lot of the world events. I mean, a ton of world events. I have actually lists of them. You guys can do a show on that. That's really insane. But I did that under hypnosis, and I could feel every one of them. And I was exhausted after 5 hours because I went through each one. And then when the events happened again, it's like Groundhog Day, right? It's like a rerun.
Right.
You're going through, which is really hard on my body, physically hard on my body, because I feel everything. I'm so empathic after the 7-year deaths and being hit by lightning. I'm very empathic. So anyway, so I didn't know if I could be hypnotized or whatever. I always thought it was, hey, this is cool, Sure. So Charlotte takes me backwards in time, right?
Okay.
And she's taking me to the past, and she goes, go to the time that is most parallel to this time. Like what is this time about in my life, right? Who are the players in my life now? And what past life matches it, right?
Right.
So she brings me back to this place in Brazil, and I'm wearing a grass skirt, and I'm naked from the, and I have breasts. That's really a concept. Okay. So, because I used to say I'm a minus A. Anyway, so a minus A cup. These were breasts. I had breasts. Yeah. Okay. And I was tan, right? Because I was like an island chick,
Right.
And there were grass huts and everything. I was in Brazil, which later on I actually ended up with the Brazilian teacher, Luis Gasparetto. Luis is Luiz or Luis if people want to look him up. And he's a channel painter. He came into my life after this. But that was a positive, you see. I brought the positive in. I'm trying to answer your question at the same time. So what happens is I go back, and then I see this man, and I'm leaving this area that I lived in, and I'm leaving by this like sort of boat-like canoe thing. And I get into it with him, and the huts are on fire, and I hear people screaming.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So she takes me there, and she goes, who's in there? And I said, my mother and my father.
Wow.
And I'm leaving because the whole place is going to be on fire, and I'm leaving in this body of water. I don't know, lagoon, if it's a thing, if it goes to the ocean. I have no idea. Wow. So I'm there, and she goes, how do you feel? And then she pulls me out of it. And when you pull someone out of it, you're detaching them from it at the same time. If you're a good hypnotist,
right,
you know how to detach them and how to have them shed that pain, suffering, negativity, right? This is all on camera, so I'm sobbing, right?
Right.
That they're dying, and I can hear them screaming, for help, and we can't help them. There's no fire truck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Back then. So anyway. She then says, let me take you forward in time, right? So she takes me forward in time. Now, it's the first time I ever heard that you can have a future progression.
Right.
I didn't know about it. I studied Society of Psycho Research. I was a person that went there just because I was modeling, and, spirit showed up, faces next to my body and people next to my body and all that kind of stuff. So they were deciphering it, and they never said anything about it.
Wow.
No one ever said anything about it. Didn't know it was possible. So, and I was like, and look, Regis Philbin was like a dad to me. Regis said to me, be the guinea pig, be the pigeon, be the test chick, and I am a skeptic and a believer at the same time. So I was always a skeptic until stuff happened. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't buying into whatever happened in that future.
Right.
And I wasn't buying into that past life. Okay? I wasn't buying into it. I said it. I got emotional. Interesting. I
Right.
find that interesting. Right? You got to look at it. My dad was a scientist. You got to look at it like that, right?
Right.
So I, and Regis was always a guinea pig on his show, you know what I mean? They do acupuncture on him. You didn't know they're sticking needles in him. He's making jokes, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, crazy stuff. Anyway, so, I mean, it's like, that's how I was. So, and still am. So, I go home and I had edited the show, you know, I'd edit the show in the middle of the night till 5 a.m. I get to the studio in New York, where Howard Stern shot his stuff and Dick Cavett shot his stuff and Dr. Ruth. Anyway, so I would have that studio from like 1 o'clock in the morning till 5, and I edited the show and I brought it back to Jersey. I went to Jersey because I was living in New York then, and I went to Jersey to my grandma's.
Right.
And I put the tape, and my mother was pouring out crying.
Oh, wow.
And I never knew she had a fear of fire.
Really?
So she was like, oh my God. And you could feel it you could feel the energy. When I do stuff like that, you could feel the energy off the videotape.
Uh-huh.
When I do readings on videotape, you could feel the energy coming off of it. People can feel it and they get emotional. It's happened my whole life in TV, so it's sort of crazy. And I don't know how I do that, but whatever. I don't know how. Anyway, so I have to be honest. And so I end up going to my dad. My mom's like, you gotta talk to your dad. You gotta talk to your dad.
Right.
Like, okay. And my dad says, just had a fire in my house. I said, what? He says, it was hit by lightning. I said, your house was hit by lightning? He goes, yeah. He said, kid, wait till you come over. So it went through the kitchen and then all the way downstairs to the TV and blew the TV up.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was funny, right? He never wanted to watch me on TV. No, I didn't have one. You didn't have one.
Right. Wow.
I thought that was funny. I didn't make that happen. But anyway, so it came through. Well, my mom was hit by lightning twice. Here, my dad's house was hit, and I was hit by lightning once. So whatever, we all survived. So okay, so my dad watches the tape and he starts sobbing. Now my dad doesn't cry. He only cried when his goldfish died. His big goldfish, only because he used some magnetic thing to clean the tank with. No joke.
Wow.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, he used that magnetic tank cleaner. Yeah, don't be using that. And he had this fish for, I don't know, most of my life. I mean, it's huge. He had to keep getting a bigger tank, his goldfish. When that goldfish died, he cried. When his mom died, he cried. And when he watched the videotape, he cried. Only 3 times in my life have I seen him cry.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
So he's sobbing. And he's like, oh my God. He says, I've had a fear of that my whole life. And my mom said she had that same fear. And I thought, they're the ones in the hut on fire.
Wow.
Sort of funny, right?
Wow.
So I was like, wow, okay, that's number one.
Well,
Number two,
let me ask you, though. And okay, now that you're right there.
yes.
Do you think, this is me personally asking you, all right? Now you already had the past life regression already, and you saw what you saw. They heard what you saw as going through the hypnotist and stuff. Do you think that all 3 of you were already connected in that past life? And then, in other words, what are the chances of it coming back into this life? In other words, like, do the same family members go through it again in another life altogether? Is my question. Really, in reality.
Oh, yeah, because she brought me to the time that's most simultaneous to the time now. Get it?
Right.
That was it. I'm bringing you to the time that's most simultaneous with the players that you have now. Get it?
Right.
So it was that. So I'm bringing you to that time.
Okay.
So, yeah. So if she said, I'm just going to bring you back and you keep going, she's not going to, you know what I mean? I've taken people back and I haven't asked them, like, is that your mom now? Is that your dad now? I haven't done stuff like that.
Right.
Because I do it now for people, but because I'll tell you the next thing. So anyway, so I do that with them, and I thought that was crazy. And then on the tape, she goes, well, what are you doing in the future? And I said, I said, oh, in 1988, I'm at the Olympics, and I'm in Japan, and it's a rush, and I got to get there, and it's like this last minute thing, and this job's being offered to me by these people I do TV with, and they're offering me this job, and I'm so excited because I'm with the Olympics, and I'm in Japan, and then she wakes me up. Okay, all right, done, and she goes, isn't that good? Boop boop. All right. And Shallow's got this great voice, you know, she's just fabulous. What a great person. I love her. So anyway, so of course in 1988, I was the Olympic volleyball spokesmodel. I did Japan Tonight. I was with them. I was with Karch and Stokes and all of these people that you see that are beach volleyball in Japan, the Olympics. And it was Baywatch, which I was on Baywatch, the pilot forward through the whole series. I was on with Baywatch. And the Baywatch producers were the ones that brought me and offered me the Olympics.
Wow.
And they were like, you got 10 days before you leave. And then you're going to be in Japan for 10 days. So you better pack up, get ready, get your passport, get it going now. It's like, wow.
Wow.
And it was a rush, and it did happen. And I didn't make that happen. How am I going to make that happen? I'm just doing Baywatch. They offered it to me. I don't know. I end up in Japan doing the Olympics, buying kimonos, buying miso. You know what I mean?
What was
sushi.
It
was like, you know what I mean?
What was the time? What was the time span when the day that they did the future progression, until the day it happened? How long was the time span in between?
2 years. 2 years. Good
2
question.
years.
2
Okay.
years.
2 years. Well, that's pretty good.
2 years.
I mean, still, just
pretty
to,
good.
Just to see something in the future, with doing that. Now, let me ask you this question. Now, when you were talking about hypnotists, when they take you and they bring you back, the vibration that it gives them to where they can disconnect you at that pivotal point to where it doesn't come with you, right? And me personally, I'm kind of thinking of it I'm a musician, right? So like a tuning fork, right? Boom, you hear that, right? And you put it next to your guitar, and it's humming, and then you tune your guitar. But at the same time, once you take that tuning fork off the guitar, your strings are not vibrating anymore. So you got to make sure it disconnects, right? From that element, so that way your guitar strings are not vibrating anymore. In other words, what I'm trying to say is the disconnect that they're trying to do, they do to you at that moment, it doesn't stay with you to where whatever you were in a past life doesn't stay with you. It automatically disconnects. Now, has there been a time to where it doesn't?
She has to disconnect it. No, I'm sorry. She has to. I didn't mean to talk over you. She has to disconnect it. She had to do that to me. She had to take it off me.
Oh,
she goes, okay.
I got you.
Now, and only a good hypnotist does that.
Right.
Other hypnotists don't do that. There are so many flake hypnotists. I'm calling them flakes. I've met some of them, and I'm like, yeah, you're not taking me under. And they don't. They really don't. Because I don't feel it. Like, I'm trying. It's not happening. Getting nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Not happening.
Right.
But, a good, and I think I was being protected too. But protection's a big thing. I always ask him, if this person's not right for me, then forget about it, Like with Tim, I knew, like when I got on the phone with him, I knew he had cracked up and, he had gotten angry and this and this. I don't need an angry hypnotist working on me.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, let me
ask, angry to win it.
Let me ask you this.
Anyway, go ahead.
Let me ask you this question. Let's just say, me personally, it's not happening to me, but it's just hypothetically, if I'm having like these dreams of things that keep occurring over and over, and it's in a different time, and I know it's at a different time, and I want to get some kind of hypnotist or something. Yeah, I mean, what are your suggestions for like a person like me? I'm sure there's one. It's one in a few out there, but that experiences on a daily basis or maybe on a weekly basis. What is your opinion or how I should go about getting this taken care of to where I know this happened and I can affirmate that it did happen to me? You know what I mean? In a past life. How do I go about this?
Well, I do a form of like conscious hypnosis.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And I actually do it on clients now. But I met a woman named Joy Harold, okay, in Jersey, all right? And Joy taught me a conscious hypnosis. And I thought, oh, this is BS, right? But, she didn't know that I kept having dreams of being in Egypt.
Wow.
About who my father was and the this and the that and the da ba ba da ba da ba. And it wasn't my father now, you know what I mean? Like, well, my father passed, but, it wasn't my father that I had in this lifetime.
Right.
But I always had this Egyptology kind of thing. Always had these dreams and always hieroglyphs. You couldn't get Egyptian stuff away from me when I was a tiny child. I think it was like, 7 or 8. I was into Egyptology. I was already like getting books on hieroglyphs and I was attracting all of this, including neighbors. A few years ago, I even had a neighbor from Egypt who gave me all these gifts.
Wow.
From King Tut and all that kind of stuff. And of course I knew Steve Martin, King Tut, Anyway, so gotta attract it all. If you're gonna attract Egypt, you gotta have Steve Martin in there somewhere. So anyway, I sing that song all the time. You think, but anyway, so it was so funny. So I went with Joy Harold, right? Went to her house, interviewing her. She doesn't know I'm psychic, right? I interview her for the show, get referred to her. I do this conscious hypnosis, lay down, and they tape me, in this pink suit. Never forget it. This pink suit, blue eyeshadow. It was those days with the big hair. And so I'm laying down, and she's like, okay, now let's go back in time, and let's go back beyond that, and let's go back beyond that. And she took me through different lifetimes, right? And she takes me to Egypt, right? And she says to me, what do you see? And I said, oh, I see all this gold and everything like that. And she says, yeah, I know, you're in Egypt. I mean, it was like she knew because she's psychic too. Okay. So just like me, right?
Wow.
So she taught me all this, how to do this with people so that you're totally conscious, so that you have your wits about you. So you don't have anybody, coming on you while you're under, like the dentist chair.
Gotcha.
So they have like a lot of them when they do that kind of stuff. So oh my God. So you don't have that and you're more in control.
Gotcha.
And I like to have my clients in control. I actually was offered TV shows and the producers were shocked because I took people back and back and back, and they were totally conscious talking. And I'd say to them, oh yeah, you're afraid that someone's going to steal your jewelry. And like the producer didn't know, that was his niece, and he didn't know. He didn't know how I did what I did, you know what I mean? And they couldn't move. They couldn't move their arms. I said, try to move your arms. Couldn't move their arms. But you see that it's dangerous because you do it for TV. They were offering me this show, and you do it for TV. And I said to them, the induction people all want to see, but you cannot do that. And then when you see these people, and then I finally snap them out of it, and I have them release that, I would say to them, release that. And I would like chi energy, like qigong and all that kind of stuff, chi energy with my hands, over them and make them release it from that lifetime.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I do with people in person, and they feel the other side with them. They also feel their relatives with them, and I identify their relatives with them when I do a conscious hypnosis with them, where I take them backwards and forwards in time. So Joy brought me there, and I was like, whoa. And my dad had been in the other room, and my dad's listening to this because my dad couldn't get me enough National Geographics or any of that kind of stuff, books on Egypt when I was growing up. So he was in shock when he heard all the stuff I said,
Right.
And so, and I said my name and all that. We looked it up, and I existed.
Oh, wow.
We looked it up, and it wasn't in any of those books that I had.
Yeah.
But we had to look it up. We had to look at the years. We had to look at who I was and everything.
Yeah.
And that's what I do with people, too, is I take them back and back and back where they can verify the year, where they were, what their name was, all of that. And I do that, and I normally have an assistant in the room who writes the notes because, of course, you know how I am from the first show we did with electronics and
yeah, exactly.
how you can get static and lose all the data, right?
Especially tape back in the days. Anything magnetic would really screw those things up really bad, and it's hard to bring that stuff back. Once it messes up, it messes up. And then to redo it again.
Yeah.
Now let me ask your opinion on this. You've been doing this for quite a while, I guess, with many people. And
2005, I started doing it with People Forward. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and that's still a quite a long time.
Oh yeah.
So, in your opinion, are we recycled over and over and over as far as a whole, as far as the human existence in your inner aura, like you as a spiritual person, or your being, your inner being, let's just say that.
Sure.
Do you think that we have the option to do this maybe after we cross to the other side, or does it just automatically happen?
Oh no, we are recycled. That's a great word for it, recycled. I never thought of it that way. But yeah, I mean, we've had lifetimes and lifetimes. I've had so many that we verified that I can't even tell you. When I was with Tim, it was like insane. We had so many, and then of course we verified all my world events that came in, which was me tapping into the future, me seeing the future.
Right.
You know, I saw the COVID shot. I saw Trump being president. I saw Obama being president. I described them. You know, I said what year they were going to be president. It was really funny, right? You know, I mean, I'm not for either party. I'm very like, let the best man win. You know what I mean? Or best woman win, whatever.
Exactly.
That's me. And, but anyway, I was able to see that. I was able to see the fires in California. So then I knew I'm not moving there. I'm not going to Santa Barbara.
Right.
I know the mudslides and the fires, and I was able to see the tsunami. And then when the tsunami was about to happen, my whole body swelled up like a balloon, and I knew the tsunami was coming. And I actually did TV with CNN, and when CNN was different, and I did TV with CNN, and I was in Irvine, California, and I predicted within 10 days the tsunami that happened in Japan with Fukushima. So all of those things I said in 1999, 2000. We didn't know what that was coming out of my mouth. And when I talk, it's like ticker tape. It's like, da, 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 da. I don't have time to think about anything.
Right.
It's just coming out of my mouth. And sometimes it comes out in French. Sometimes it comes out in a different language. Sometimes I'm talking Italian. Sometimes, I mean, and you are able to tap into other languages under hypnosis.
Wow.
You know, which is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
I had Marshall Silver once hypnotized me, and he put me over two horses. You know those we call them horses. You know the wooden
for lumber. I mean, to when you're doing construction, kind of those. Okay.
Yeah, those horses. Yeah, like hurdle things. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Yeah. So anyway, so he put me over two of them. He hypnotized me first. Had me sing like Madonna. I didn't know "Burning Up for Your Love." I didn't know the lyrics to "Burning Up for Your Love." I heard it on the radio, and I knew the chorus, but I didn't know the whole song.
Wow.
So I sang to the audience. I actually sang. Then I talked in another language, and I could hear the English part of it in my head while I was speaking the other language. I was aware I'm speaking another language, but I could hear the English translation in my head. Very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. I am odd, yes, but there's a market for it. But anyway, so... he hypnotized me. He put me, he put fire underneath my hand, and, you know, like a big lighter, one of those really big lighters, you know, those long lighters. Put it under my hand, but he kept saying, your hand is an ice cube tray. Your hand is an ice cube tray. Your hand is an ice cube tray. Over and over, and I'd feel my hand all cool, and he was running fire underneath it. I saw the videotape after. I was really in shock. I wanted the videotape, you know, but this is Marshall Silver. If you look him up, he's, you know.
Did you burn?
Anyway,
did you burn?
No, not at all. And not at all. And then he went, "You are as strong as a steel bar. You are as strong as a steel bar." And I would get like stiff, right? I got all stiff. He laid me over the two horses, and he stood on top of me, and he was 170 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's walking on me. And I'm like, he's walking on my body, and my body is stiff and straight as a steel bar.
Wow.
Now, I had knee pain, severe knee pain. I had been in an accident where my knees hit the dashboard.
Wow.
I was in severe knee pain. Do you know that after he finally made me into jelly, After he finally made me into jelly, we went backstage, and then he went and took, because I was in a comedy club, and I fell over in the chair while he was going, I need to do something, hypnosis, blah, 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 blah. And I fell over, and he went, up, that's my subject, and he brought me on stage, and that's what happened. That's how it happened. And it was really weird. And so he took me backstage, and then he had a thing he did over my knees. And I'm going to tell you, I was out of pain. And my chiropractor was like, what happened to you? I said, well, can I tell you a weird story? I got the videotape. Want to see it?
Wow.
It was unbelievable. And he played, what was it? Phil Collins, Coming in the Night or something. What is that song?
Yeah. In the air. Yeah.
In the air tonight. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. I will spare all your ears, everybody listening. All right. So anyway, so he did that with me, and I was fascinated with hypnosis, and I had many discussions with him, many. And he knows I do the lotto thing now. He's like, yeah, he was sending me clients because he's like, oh my God, this lotto chick. She's just positive to the nth degree for everybody and gets them all positive, and it's true. And that's how they win. It's just, it's easy. And I pray for them too. But anyway, so we go back. So in 2005, 2006, I'm having dreams that I should be helping people. And then I'm having clients come to me, and they're like, do you know a good hypnotist? And I said, do you want to try something with me? So we did 5 hours apiece. Now, I had one woman, I had to go to the Directors Guild to see a movie, right? And we were late and everything, and it was The Lake House with Keanu Reeves, and I met Keanu right after that, but of course, because I saw The Lake House on the big screen. Anyway, so I went there. I was late, and on the way, I said to my friend Michelle, I said, we're going to meet a woman, and she's in a wheelchair, and I'm supposed to help her. I don't know how. And so we didn't meet anybody in the lobby. There wasn't anybody in the lobby because we got there through half the movie. I only saw half the movie. But I love the movie, but I saw half the movie. Anyway, so I got out of the movie, and I said, let's go to the ladies' room before we go take the trek back, because it's an hour drive. And so we went to the ladies' room, and there's the woman with the wheelchair coming out of the ladies' room.
Wow.
And Michelle hits me. She hits me. They all hit me, you know what I mean? Elbow me or hit me, right? And I said, hi. I said, I'm June. What's your name? Right? And so she gave me her name, and then I said, well, I got to tell you something. And Michelle goes, she turns it. She talks about you in the car. We were waiting to meet someone. Oh, my God. And it's you. Oh, my God. Like that, right? So anyway, so she was in a wheelchair because they told her she had MS. Got this?
Okay.
So she had MS. And she's just in the wheelchair. She's crippled and stuff. And I didn't know why she's crippled or anything. I didn't know if she really has MS or not. Because, look, people said a lot of things about me every time I died. I had this and that and this. I wasn't going to survive, You got 3 days to live, and I'm still here, and yada, yada, right? So I don't buy into that stuff, I don't buy into all that medical stuff. You have this, and you have that, and you have, no, I don't,
Right.
Anyway, so and it proves that I don't. So anyway, so I'm open, and she says, I'll do this with you, right? We talk on the phone. I'll do this with you. She calls me the Rainbow Woman now, by the way. Anyway, so I lived at a place where it's 5, not flights of stairs, but it's there are 5 stairs, and then a little platform, and then 5 stairs, and a little platform, and a little, and that went on 5 times to go down from where she parked her car. She parked her car in my space, and got the wheelchair out, and I'm taking her down the stairs in the wheelchair. Wow. Never even thought about that. Didn't think that was a workout.
Wow.
But she was worth it. So I got her down to my place. I didn't know how I was going to get her up the stairs. That was going to be the next problem, right? How am I going to get her up the stairs now? Didn't have to worry about that. Wait till you hear this. So anyway, so I put her on my red velvet sofa, and lay her down, and that became my hypnotist area, the red velvet sofa. It's sort of funny. And so I put a blindfold over her eyes, so she couldn't see anything. And then I start working on her body, and I said, there's a child here on the other side. And I said, the child says, I forgive you.
Oh, wow.
got chili bumps. Child says, I forgive you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, Grandma. Now, I don't know what this is about, but I'm channeling over her while I'm taking her under. She starts sobbing right away. Now, she had lost her grandson, and she felt guilty of it because she turned her head for a minute and he drowned in the swimming pool and died.
Oh, no. Wow.
And then, excuse me, and then she became crippled.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so she became crippled, and it was like MS. Get it? Crippled.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went through the processes of taking her, totally conscious. She's speaking to me, and she's crying, and I'm like, let it go. Let it go. He's here. He forgives you. You've got your grandfather here. You've got your grandmother here. You've got your aunt here. And I said how they all died, right? And because they all told me how they all died. So it verified to her who they were.
Right.
And, because I'm all about verification, because I would want that.
Exactly.
Like if I'm going to work on somebody, I would want somebody to do that for me. I don't have anybody to do that for me. Love it. I love it. But, it doesn't happen. So anyway, so I took her under. So we're in our third hour, and I'm taking her under, and she's letting it go, and I'm like, let it go, da 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 da. Anyway, so she says, oh my gosh, I have to go to the ladies' room. And I'm like, sure. Ladies' room is right over there, the powder room. Anyway, so she actually, I'm thinking I got to get her up.
Right.
So I got my hands out, and she gets up and walks over there, goes to the bathroom.
Oh, wow.
Standing in the doorway.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, no joke. You can't make this stuff up. This is the most insane thing in my life. So, but it proves that people get crippled by scenarios. See, my grandmother lost her son. That's why I do all this stuff for children and everything. She lost my Uncle Bob. I lost my Uncle Bob. My Uncle Bob was like a dad to me, the dad that I never had, because my dad really wasn't,
Right.
a really full-fledged dad for me. And when my Uncle Bob died, I was devastated. I was like 6 or 7 years old. I was devastated.
Right.
And so my grandmother became more crippled, and then she lost her legs. Everything kept happening, boo, 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 to her physically. Get it?
Right.
So she became crippled. So I get it. So it makes sense.
It's like
right?
It's
so
like
you really can't.
It's like they plant a seed of some sort in your head, or your own mental, let's just say mental anguish to yourself. Because, like in her situation, she was feeling bad because of what happened. She turned her head just for a second, and then her grandson dies, and it puts her bad mental state from then. And it's a state of mind. I'm a true believer of you be able to heal yourself in a sense, to where once you take yourself out of that state of mind, that you can actually, almost manifest yourself to be better, right? And I've seen a lot of horrible things too, to where I've had friends to where their parents, they were just fine, and then they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, oh, you got 2 months to live, and then they die, and then they die in 2 months. But they never knew. It's like they were walking, talking, everything was just fine until they put that seed in your mental head. You know what I mean? And then it brings your like your spirit and your aura down to where, like, oh yeah, I'm sick. Oh yeah, I got, and now I know, I get it. I get what you're talking about. And I guess you were able to pull her out of that, huh?
Oh yeah. Well, then she goes, this is Disneyland. She says,
wow. I bet
she says, I'm able to walk. This is Disneyland. She says, can we do the other 2 hours? I said, of course we can. So we did the other 2 hours,
nice.
and I brought her to her future. I tied her to her future, and her future happened that way.
Wow.
Okay. Exactly that way. I won't say, because recognize yourself if she's listening. Anyway, so I don't want to tell all of her stuff.
Right.
But I ended up carrying her wheelchair squished together up the stairs, and she walked up the stairs herself.
Wow.
To the car.
Wow.
And she didn't want to call her husband. She just wanted to go home and surprise him.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
To this day, she's on my Facebook and is just like, thank you, you helped me, da 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 da.
Wow.
Now my grandmother thought she could save Uncle Bob, and that my Aunt Carol, his wife, did not save Uncle Bob. So they sort of like disconnected her from the family. I'll say that nicely. How's that?
Right.
Because they thought that she should have saved Uncle Bob, and my grandmother thought she could have saved her son, and so that created this whole problem. But, you know, you can't work on your own family. It's sort of like that joke, you know, where the guy goes, you know, the guy wheeled in to the doctor and the doctor says, I can't operate on him. Well, that's because it's his son. You know, you don't operate on your own son. You don't do an operation on your own son.
Right.
And you don't operate on your own family. But anybody else can. You know, like I can operate on them. Get it? You know?
Right.
You know? So this is that kind of thing. And I give them like a 5-page evaluation sheet before I do it. And I'm going to begin doing these. And I am booking them now. So if people want to do them, if they think they want to do something like this with me, I'm more than happy to do that.
Awesome.
You can write me, you know, June DeYoung at gmail.com. Write me and with your phone number and your name, and I will call you. I will call you. I call people. People don't believe I call them, but I call them. I got 4,000 emails a day, but I call people. You know, I will call them.
Yes, you
so
do.
anyway, it's my thing. You know, I want people to know they're loved and that I will get back to them. But this is a big thing for me because this is going to help a whole bunch of people out there that have been going through all of this stuff since we were all on lockdown for years and things like that. I mean, I've helped children. I've helped, children have done it with me. I've helped teenagers. You know, I've helped people with addiction get over the addiction. It goes away.
Wow.
We find out where it's from, the root of the cause, boom, done. And it's easy. And it doesn't have to be 5 hours you're with me. You could be with me for 3 hours. You know, you can be with me for 2 hours, whatever. I'm doing 2 hour minimum because a 1 hour goes by so fast, it's 5 minutes.
Wow.
Do you know that people feel that they're under for 15 minutes and they look at the time and it's 5 hours? That's how it is, you know?
I was going to ask you that question next. I got a little sidetracked, but I was going to ask you, okay, when they put you under, right? I've never been hypnotized ever in my life, but when they put you under, and that's what I was just going to say, do you experience, can you hear what's going on around you, or are you kind of like in a blacked out moment, or you just feel like missing time has just went by?
It does feel like missing time in a way because it feels like, seriously, it feels like a half an hour when I do 5 hours.
Wow.
It feels like a half an hour. Even though I've squished all this stuff in there and I'll have people writing notes. Like I had my friend Jasmine writing notes because I talk so fast, and I had my friend Jen writing notes and Tim writing questions to ask me. See where I'm going? So it was those three were in the room, and I can't see them in the room. I can't feel them in the room. I'm just in world events. I'm like boom to the next thing, boom to the next thing, boom to the next thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm in all of that. From water, hurricanes, this, that. That's why people call me Storm Stradamus. So anyway, so which is sort of funny. I have so many nicknames. It's ridiculous. I got Psychic with the red dress on because I was always wearing red. I was always wearing red gowns and stuff. So the musicians call me that. You know, the people around Ringo Starr and all. You know, it's just nutsy stuff. I got Beatles. Yeah, I got Beatles. I got tons of crazy clients. So, but anyway, it's fun. It's so fun. My life is fun. My life is Disneyland. But I love these, and I was told in the past 2 weeks that I should offer these again, and that I should offer to do these in person. And I think people are more comfortable now being in person after everything we've gone through with masks and things like that.
Right.
Which is good. And anyway, the cool thing is you're in total control. Like you're talking to me and everything. You can't move your body. I mean, if you want to move your body, I'll go and take you to move your body, and then you know you can go. Okay, I'm done. You know, that's fine. It's not a big deal. It's not. I'm not holding anybody captive.
Right. Well, I mean,
and most of the time they want to sleep over. That's most of the time.
I guess
they're like, "Can I sleep over? Oh my God, do you have jammies?"
I guess it's like every day. We kind of experience that every day. Every human being does. I guess when we go to bed, we go to sleep. Right? We're down. Most people. I sleep for about. I have to have 7 hours sleep, so I sleep 7 hours. You know what I mean? And it's at that you're asleep for 7 hours, and it kind of feels like 15 minutes sometimes. You know what I mean? It's like I just closed my eyes tonight, and then you wake up in the morning. Where did all that time go? And your subconscious or your conscious, you're not conscious when it's doing it. You're subconscious, right? And you're only catching the last 15 minutes before you wake up in REM sleep, right? When you're actually starting to wake up. So and that's when you're dreaming, and that's when everything happens. But I feel like maybe that's how you feel, right? Like when you're asleep and then you wake up, and
Oh, yeah.
that much time has passed, right?
Yeah, I never sleep 7 hours though. I mean, I sleep 2 hours and 4 hours and maybe an hour and then 2 hours and 4 hours. It's like that. That's how I am. But I hardly sleep. But the interesting thing is, when I was a teenager, I used to sleep. So I get what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is that you will never forget like what you went through with me. That's the coolest part. When you go through it, for some reason, hypnosis sticks with you and you never forget.
Okay.
So that's the coolest part. You will release all the energy and the negativity and all this and all the pain and I will roll it on you. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that you release it.
Right.
There are a lot of people that had joint pain for life, and I worked on them, and boom, the joint pain's gone. They think they got fibromyalgia. They don't, and it's gone.
Wow.
And it's an amazing thing. And I don't consider myself, gee, I'm the healer or the singer or whatever.
Right.
No. You're healing yourself. I'm just a facilitator and I don't lead you on. This is what I hate about hypnosis, okay, is I went to a few hypnotists and they go, okay, now go here and don't you see that? And I'm like, no. They're trying to lead you in a direction and feed stuff to you.
Right.
That is the most, it's
like kind
not
of
authentic. You know what I mean?
Is it like a little deceiving in a sense?
Yes, it is. And you know what? And you're paying them. You're paying them $300, $600 an hour, whatever the heck you're paying them.
Right.
I mean, Shalla, at the time I went to Shalla, was $800 an hour back in the 80s. $800 an hour.
Wow.
I'm not joking. So that's a lot of money, you know?
It is.
I mean, I did a show, so I didn't have to pay that. But it was like, I asked her what she gets, because a whole bunch of people who saw the show wanted to go to her. Or
Right.
wanted to send her to London or whatever. They found out what she charged. It was like, oh my God. So
Wow.
anyway, and I'm not like that, but anyway, so I charge less than that now. You know what I mean? For
Right.
people to come and have it done. Anyway, so I got to tell you this one. This one's a really good one. Okay. And then maybe we'll be out of time, but I don't know. You can tell
We
me.
got 4 minutes.
want really-
we got 4 minutes.
No, I gotta do this fast. Okay, so I went to Seattle. I'm gonna speed talk. Okay, I went to Seattle and I saw this woman because she wasn't eating, and everybody thought she's anorexic and whatever, and she's just eating chocolate and chocolate donuts. Like, oh my God! And I went up and she was a client of mine, but I didn't know she wasn't eating. Like, I didn't, you know what I mean? She was a client of mine. We were working on other stuff,
Right.
her kids and her
Right.
thing, and her marriage, but we were not working on her, eating and all that stuff. So anyway, so she was like thin as a rail, and she was getting, cancer in her nose and all that kind of stuff, which went away, by the way, the lesions. But I went and took her under, and Trisha, her friend, came over and took the notes. And because everybody, her whole family, all of her friends were worried that she was going to die because she was that thin. She was like anorexic looking bones.
Wow.
And so anyway, so I took her backwards in time and forwards in time. So I took her backwards in time, and I said, go to the time that most resembles now. So take her back. She's in a castle with breadcrumbs to eat. And she's left behind by everybody in the castle.
Oh, wow.
And all she has is breadcrumbs to eat. And she's starving and she's dying. Okay. Then I take her forward in time. Okay. And I got the year and I got her name and everything. We verified all of that and the castle and the area the castle was in.
Wow.
No joke. We found it. It was way back in time.
Nice.
I took her back. And she was a woman then. Some people are men and whatever. Okay. And I think that's also something with transgender stuff, which is sort of an interesting thing. I've worked, they call me the transgender medium. It's sort of funny. Worked with a lot of people that are transgender. And I understand. And they've had past lives and things like that, So that's why they feel acclimated to both, Anyway, so, all right, let me take her forward. And I said, where are you? I said, go forward to where you are and where you're happy. And she says, oh, there's this blue house and everything. I said, enter the blue house. Go to the kitchen. Go to this room. Go to that room. Go upstairs. There's an upstairs, right? She goes, yeah, there's upstairs. And there's this backyard. And then there's this thing with the garage and the thing. And I said, okay, cool. All right. Being fast as I can. So anyway, so she says, so she says, oh my God, this is so amazing. Oh my God. And I said, claim it. Claim it. This is my house. This is my house. I claim this house now. Okay. Take her out of it. All right. And I anchor her to it. That's called anchoring, brain anchoring. I anchor her to her future. And I say, this will happen fast. Accept it. Accept receiving it fast as I'm taking her out of it.
Right.
Except we're saving it fast, faster than it ever could happen. You will find it. Okay. All right. I'm going to sound like an evangelist. God help me. All right. Anyway, so so then she wakes up out of it and she goes, I could never afford that. I'm in a divorce. How could I do it? My credit's bad. I don't have the down. What am I going to do? How can I get that house? I said, you're going to find that house. The next week, she does a drive-by and the house is for sale. And she's sitting in front of it calling me from the car.
Wow.
And she's like, I'm in front of the house. I said, cool. So go set up to go in. No, I can't. No fear, I said to her. This is your house. You claimed it. It's your house. Go in and see if it's exactly that house on the layout.
Wow.
She goes and it's exactly that house. I said, great, put a bid in. She puts a bid in, and guess where she lives now? In that house.
Nice. Wow.
Nice, right?
Yeah,
That's a great way for us to end, right? And I thought about this. I thought everybody should hear that one. That's a nice one, and and I've got a bunch of them. But we go on for days. But it's I've done thousands of people, and they've all had something beautiful and positive happen out of it. And a lot of people can't receive. They won't allow themselves to receive, and I get them to the point where they can receive.
Wow.
The idea is to receive, right?
Exactly.
And you know what? We're here. We're here. Knock and you shall receive, right?
Exactly.
But you gotta knock.
Exactly.
So you
Exactly.
receive.
Exactly.
And you gotta ask.
Exactly.
So you receive.
That's true.
I ask.
That's right.
I ask. I'm here on borrowed time. I ask, hey, you know what? Jesus, send me this. You know what? God, send me that. You know what, angels, send me this.
Exactly.
You know what, saints, send me that. Help me to help the children. Send me the clients so I can help the children get bunnies in the hospital for Easter. Help me.
Yeah.
And sure enough, phone rings off the hook. Boop, done.
Wow.
And it's and because you know what, I have no doubt. I know that I'm taken care of, and it's all good.
Wow.
We come in alone, we die alone, right? But you know what? But we have help from the other side, and that's the greatest thing. On the planet.
Exactly. Well,
right?
I've gone to a few churches back in my day, and the best way I heard it one time was this one preacher says, he just says, it's like prayer is it's like rain out in the ocean, right? The clouds in the ocean. If the clouds don't go over the ocean and the it doesn't go over the water, and the water sucks up all the moisture into the cloud, then the cloud's not going to give you rain. He says prayers are the same way. So it's the more you pray, it's like sucking the water into the cloud. So then the cloud will give you everything that you ask for, right? So, and it's basically that's kind of concept. It's the same thing like you're saying, it's the same thing, but anyway, thank you for being on the show today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you for the time. I know we went a little overtime and we started a little late, but I thank you everybody because we started a little late. Thank you so much, and thank you for listening, and stay in touch with me, and follow me on Facebook or whatever, and I'll accept your friend requests and things like that. So I'm on it. So I look forward to meeting all of you. Hopefully I hear from you and we set something up, and I'd love to help you guys.
Yes.
Or if you have a friend that needs help, some people need to be gifted a session or something like that. Some family members need to gift a session to their kid or something like that, so that it helps the kid move on, and seriously, I've had a lot of kids that now are multimillionaires.
Nice.
I'm Auntie June, what am I going to say? I'm Auntie June, sort of crazy.
Well, I will add all the links that you provided to me on this podcast. So if anybody go to the information after this podcast is over today, and I'll add all the links on there so you can find Miss June DeYoung, and then her email and everything like that, and you can find her on Facebook all over the place. And you're being a regular on our show here, which is great. Thank you for
I'm so thankful.
Oh yeah, we are too. Thank you for being on the show. We love your work. We love what you do to help people, and we do the same thing, but in a different kind of way. We just kind of help people with the extraterrestrial thing sometimes, because it does get traumatic.
Oh, yeah.
It does get traumatic on that that can affect people. But anyway, thank you for being on the show today, and we will get you on another show pretty soon, right?
Thank you. I'd love that. That would be nice. Thank you. And if anybody who had an alien encounter or any kind of unusual encounter or psychic phenomena encounter and they need help, I'll do the hypnosis for that, the conscious hypnosis. And because I've done it for those people, and it really helps a lot. It gets it off of them, and then they understand it. They understand what happened, and it's a good thing.
Yes, it
really
is.
Good thing.
Yes, it is.
You know.
Yes, it is. Well, hang out in the background, and then let me finish up this show, and then we'll get back to you in just a second. All right, hold on there.
Got it. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.
All right, guys, I hope you really enjoyed today's podcast as much as I did. It was, man, just some great information there. It was a great podcast. Like I said, if you want to talk to Miss June DeYoung, I'll put all her information on this podcast. And then if you want to reach out to me, I'll put a link. It's going to say all my links, and it will actually take you to every single one of my links for Donald Ledesma, Alien Strand, or any of my films, anything like that. Don't forget, catch the middle part 1. The middle part 2 is out right now, and we're finishing the middle part 3, which is the series of my documentaries, and then I'll have the middle 4 towards the late of this year. But I really do appreciate you guys for listening to today's show, and catch us on the next one. You know, we're on 26 to 28 platforms of audio. We are on YouTube, so if you go to our YouTube, hit us a like and subscribe. Please hit us a like and subscribe. We appreciate you guys. But until then, you guys have yourselves a good day, have yourselves a good evening, and have yourselves a good night.